Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Fuck these bitch ass Mars. 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 They ain't got no life.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Dork Side of the Ring. I'm your host, Rad Rob.
Right?
The Falls.
This is going great already.
We're already fucking interrupting each other. That's fantastic. Our chemistry is fucking spot on. You hear the golden pipes of the one and only Hughezy from It's Hughezy Hello and the real talent of Get My Go. What's going on, brother? I know you were looking forward to doing this one.
I've been looking to do this one for about 5 days, and we're sticking to our strict regime of every 3.5 week episodes. Yeah, but this is the thing about this show that I like is that it is like this is going great. What I meant to say was because it's hard to mix up schedules, we both work, we're both got a lot of podcasts and work to do, we've social lives, families. I'm addicted to porn and cocaine. I go out a lot. To match up, it's impossible, but what I can give to the millions and millions of downloads listeners we have at least 2 other episodes, hopefully.
Yeah.
The episode today is about the quite upsetting fall of one of my all-time favorites, Chris Jericho, and we hilariously come up with the title name, The Falls of Jericho.
That was all you, by the way. That was all you.
Yeah, I mean, you have no idea how long that took me to come up with that title. I went away into the mountains of the Himalayas to really work on it and think about it, and I thought, Falls.
That's it. Just like that.
Yeah. Because the thing is, right, we've got to start off being pretty open and says the fact that in his position, if you're getting offered allegedly $8 million a year, you're going to take it. He doesn't need the money, but if someone's saying to you, listen, you could make, what's 3 18s? I don't know. 24? No.
Yeah, whatever he's, yeah. No, I don't do math, so they can figure it out.
No, yeah, 8 and 8 is
16.
And then another 8 is
24.
But $24 million. You're going to go, yeah, Tony Khan, I'll take your deal. But the thing is, so while he's doing that and he's making his money, it's great. But Chris Jericho's in his 50s. We've seen him during the golden era as one of the greatest wrestlers ever. To go from what he was to the shit he's doing now, which we'll go more into as we get along, it is sad to see because I'll always be a Jericho mark, but it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. Now, don't get me wrong. He's still a smart guy. He's a smart businessman. He's a smart guy. He's still touring with Fozzy. I mean, he's got that going on too. His appearance on Austin's show on the network was fantastic. I learned a lot from listening to him. He's a very, very smart man when it comes to business and the business. But to watch him wrestle at 54, whatever years old he is, it's hard. It really is. And, you know, all the guys always want to say, you know, I want to quit when I know it's my time. Like, I don't want to go out there and embarrass myself. Taker said it. Flair has said it. But I mean, look, they all do it still. But it is a lot of money, and you can't blame him for it. But at one point, does the value of the money just not overshadow like the legacy you're leaving just by embarrassing yourself? It's like Michael Jordan coming back to the Wizards and playing like shit. You know, he should have never fucking come back.
Yeah, it's like just this past weekend, I'm a big boxing fan. Evander Holyfield in his late 50s came back and he had knocked the fuck out within the first round by a non-boxer. And it's like, that's not acceptable. But just as a little follow-up to the previous episode, which was, of course, about CM Punk, we try to be fair while we're burying people. I honestly did not watch. I have so little interest in CM Punk and AEW stuff. I didn't watch it, and I still haven't seen it. You did, and so what was your review of the match?
The match was fantastic. He was in great shape. He moved really, really well. He didn't show any signs of ring rust from being out for 7 years. I mean, it's almost like the two were not even close to each other. But you know, when Shawn Michaels came back after 5 years in that match with Triple H, like he never skipped a beat. CM Punk, in his own right, did very, very well. And I was never a big Darby Allin fan either. But I thought the match they laid out was great for both guys. He allowed Darby the chance to shine. They put on a really good match. And as we, expected, Punk went over. But I think it did a lot for Darby Allin's career within the bubble. Nobody else fucking knows who he is outside of the AEW niche audience and, the smart marks like you and I. So I'm not going to say like, a casual fan's going to be like, oh, that's that fucking guy that went against CM. No, nobody knows. Nobody outside the bubble, nobody knows who the fuck Darby Allin is. And for the most part, nobody knows who CM Punk is. They're not big stars like John Cena, who transcended everything. The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold. They're never going to be household names outside of wrestling. But I will give the devil his due. I thought it was a great match. And if you do have the chance to go back and watch it, I think you should, because I think you would actually enjoy it.
No.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, but that's a good debate. But one of the things that has made me sort of roll my eyes is that, of course, I do the editing for Keeping It 100.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. You only mentioned it 500 times a day. That's fine.
The Allen versus Darby, the Punk versus Darby Allin feud is now finished, and it's already moved on to CM Punk versus Taz.
Oh, really? CM Punk? See, I didn't know that. I thought it was CM Punk versus the ratings because they haven't fucking gone up at all. So,
we were proven right, and it's again CM Punk has his fans, but there's not that many of them, and I thought it would be first for you to give praise to Punk, while at the same time, when you're right, you're right.
I mean, hashtag needle mover, right? I mean, it's he's not moving the needle, and he's not going to. Look. The same people that know who CM Punk is are watching him. It's you might have maybe 100 or 200,000 that might have come over to watch him, but other than that, dude, it's not going to be like the old days when, dude, even Raw was getting like 3 or 4 million, maybe 5-6 years ago, and now they're down to about 1.7, 1.8. Those people are gone, and they're not coming back, and they're not coming over for CM Punk either. The fans just aren't there.
And I mean, over the last 2 months on SmackDown, you've had John Cena and Brock Lesnar come back in really, really good angles and storylines.
Agreed. And the numbers have shown they've gone back over 2 million. So I will give them credit for that.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, that's still a very small amount. Like it's if Brock Lesnar can't get you, if John Cena can't get you, while he's got the Suicide Squad and fucking the Vacation Friends and Fast and Furious 9 and the TV show Wipeout, which has just started showing here, and it's fucking hilarious. I don't care what anyone says. It is brilliant.
I agree.
If he can't move the needle there, man, then I really don't think anyone is. But the one person left who could do it is coming in Survivor Series, and it's spoiler alert, The Rock is coming back. That's going to be a huge deal. But if he doesn't get the ratings up, that's it. No one should ever talk about ratings again, because if The Rock can't do it, nobody can.
In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, when The Rock does come back, I do not see them even hitting $3 million. And $3 million might be the cap. I don't see it. I read $2.5 million, maybe. He needs to be on Raw, to be quite honest, but he's not going to be. He's going to be on SmackDown with Roman. But what really needs to happen is to get Raw's numbers up. Maybe if they can both, I don't know, break the fucking rules and forget the brand extension and all that, and they do Raw and SmackDown, then maybe they'll have a chance to get Raw back up there again. But his debut on Fox did what, three and a half, maybe, I think, when The Rock first came for the first episode on Fox. But other than that, no, I don't see even Rock making a difference, bro. The fans aren't there, man.
Well, the rumors I'm hearing is that for Raw, fucking nearly vomited. Excuse me. That's a good one. The rumors I'm hearing is that for WrestleMania, the plans is Lesnar versus Lashley and Big E versus John Cena. So Lesnar and Cena may go there, but at the same time, it's a 3-hour fucking show. Like, when's the last time you've genuinely had 3 free hours?
When I'm sleeping, maybe, if that. That's about
it. Like I had 2 hours free earlier today. I played Spider-Man game, and it was fucking glorious. I'm so good there, man, at being a spider person there, man. But of course, we mentioned CM Punk, famous Chicago, and not so famous, but still a very, very Chicagoan, the lovely Mike Durband. The reason why I was a couple of minutes late, little breaking news, I just recorded the first episode of the next season of Get My Go.
Oh, nice. And
the target is wrestling Otaku. What's his name?
Kotaku, I think. Something like that.
I think so. Yeah. Of course, we mentioned on the previous Dork side that you and Durban had a little heat. Is there any update you'd like to share on that?
No.
Well, the one thing I can tell you this is that he hasn't been talking shit in the DMs or anything to anyone.
No, he hasn't, and I've unblocked him on Facebook. I messaged him on Facebook and Twitter, and he hasn't answered me. But Durban, if you do listen to this, there's no heat with me. Whatever happened. I don't really give a fuck to talk about it anymore, and I'd still like to continue doing business because that's where the money is. It's all about Durban. I'm glad to see that you guys are back doing it again, and you're moving on from the previous guy. Although I promise not to say anything negative about him, but I'm just kind of glad you guys have fresh material.
Well, to be fair, the reason why I was more willing to do that is because they said they were able to do it tonight, but after this weekend, I have seriously no free time. I've got a bunch of shit up, so I'll probably not be on Get My Go again for about another 5 to 6 weeks if they're recording weekly again. But anyway, what we're here to do today, which is something I often stutter saying on my own podcast, and I have to edit the tits out of it. We're here to talk about the falls of Jericho. Of course, I was a huge fan of him in WCW. I loved him in WWE. Then he left WWE, which he often did, went to Japan, who was apparently getting $500,000 a match.
Yeah.
Which again, if you're getting that kind of offer, you take it. You don't have to be loyal to Vince for that kind of money. But he did 3 matches there?
2 that I remember. It might have been 3. I remember the first one with Omega, and then some fucking Japanese dude, and then maybe another one with Omega. So yeah, I think he did 3.
Right, so he maybe made, well, let's just say over $1 million.
Yeah, that's
for right. That. That's fucking amazing. He's a very rich man. He's made a lot of money. So AEW starts. They needed a big name, and the first genuine name they got was Chris Jericho. When you heard that he had signed with AEW, what were your initial thoughts?
I thought it was a great move for them because he brings a name that most people will know. Again, he's not a household name like Cena or The Rock or any guys like that, but he has earned enough respect in the wrestling business to be the upper echelon, one of the top guys. So very smart of them to get a vet like him to kind of build around with the younger talent underneath. What I didn't agree with, honestly, though, is they fucked Hangman Page right out of the gate, and they've continued to fucking him for the last 2 years.
We will get to that very soon because one of the things, like, while this obviously is more like a burial complaint show, I can happily say that out of all the stuff Jericho's done, which we're going to get through lovely bullet point form here, it's all been bad.
Yeah.
And none of it's worked at all in any way. Like let's be fair, right? He's in his 50s and he is an admitted very heavy drinker. He looks terrible. Now, of course, everyone, when you're at that age, you're not expected to look like you did when you were a steroid-taking 20-year-old.
Right.
It's only natural to lose muscle to gain weight. But Jericho looks like shit, and he still dresses like he did as a 20-year-old. It's stupid looking.
Yeah, I agree. Well, he's a rock star, bro.
Yeah. But one of the things, I remember with AEW, I think it was like the first or second show, Jericho formed a faction called Inner Circle.
It's like, it was early. Yeah.
Which, on one hand, interested me because he's never been in a faction throughout his whole career.
Right.
But on the other hand, it was a total. So here's one of the things. The reason why like the NWO worked is that you could tell those guys hung out and were like Nash and Hall. We all knew they were friends. DX, the Nation. There's some sort of a natural chemistry with the AEW with Inner Circle. I really doubt that Jericho hangs out with fucking LAX.
Right, yeah.
And I don't think that Jericho knew who Sammy Guevara was.
They're best friends. How can you say that? How dare you?
Yeah. And then fucking Jake Hager, I think, was simply signed because he was available and they needed to have a new person come in.
Right. Well, I mean, if you look at DX and NWO, yeah, they were, other than Hogan, Hall and Nash are best friends. Triple H and Shawn Michaels and X-Pac were best friends. The Nation were all friends because they're all bodybuilders. So, yeah, I mean, at least they had the same kind of connection there. But these guys are just, it's almost like, who the fuck can we just close our eyes and reach names in the fucking hat and who are we going to put together? Maybe it's because they wanted Jericho to get them over. They have a lot of stock in Sammy Guevara. LAX, I still don't get it. Like, they're the worst version of LAX. They're like the Puerto Rican version of LAX. I don't even understand the one dude that fucking does the cat thing, got the fucking fro, and I don't understand. I don't even think they're a good tag team. But obviously they saw something in them. Jake Hager, dude, was never a star even in WWE. Like, he got over with the We the People stuff, but before that, the All-American shit was just... Yeah. Nah, I mean, he was fucking world champion and nobody gave a shit, Jinder Mahal was a better world champion than that guy.
The other thing that I thought was a really bizarre thing for Inner Circle was that the sheer level of comedy that AEW was doing with Inner Circle. This is meant to be your heel faction, and they're doing stuff like, do you remember the Brady Bunch?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Jericho Bunch, whatever the fuck they called it. Yeah,
right. See, well, first of all, that's Jericho showing his age.
Yeah,
a Brady Bunch party in 2020. Like, this is why you don't let 50-year-olds go, I've got a great idea for us, guy. Just like no, that's like, if you were going to do a sitcom party of modern, you do the Big Bang Theory.
Right.
You do something else that's currently popular, which is how the fuck when I know.
20-year-olds are like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, like I that sort of stuff's like, so how are you supposed to think, oh, those dastardly heels, if they're doing a sitcom party? Like, I get that it's a show, I get that it's not real, but if you watch, like, I don't mention this much, I'm a big superhero guy. I know what you're thinking. You what?
Never knew that. No.
But if you fucking go see Avengers Infinity War and the film opens with Thanos doing something funny, you're not going to think, oh God, I kind of like him. You what they did was they had Thanos in the opening scene beat the shit out of the Hulk,
right,
and he blew up the ship that has all Asgardians on it.
Yeah,
that's how you get a heel over. That's Jericho, right. I think, has had a midlife crisis. That's why he's trying to grow his hair back long, like he was a teenager. which is all fake hair, by the way. I think he regrets never becoming an actor.
I agree with that. And, you know, when it comes to Jericho, and like you said, doing the comedy stuff, if they are supposed to be a heel faction, I mean, Ben Hameen taught me, always get your heat. Always put heat on the heels. He wasn't getting any heat. He was the quote, cool fucking heel. You know, he wasn't getting over as you know, somebody who's supposed to be a bad guy. So he was cast in the wrong fucking role for that anyway. His promos are still fantastic. I'll give him that. Like, he's still a fantastic promo. He should change his ring style. He shouldn't be trying to do the lion salts and all this. Dude, I fucking watched one last week or the week before. He did a fucking lion salt. All I see is his fucking stomach just got fucking jiggling in the air. He hit the move, but goddamn, at some point he's going to break his fucking neck because he can't even get over. But fuck, dude. You know, like, I don't think you're a baseball fan, but, you know, Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine were two of the greatest pitchers ever from the Braves. As they got older and they couldn't throw the ball harder anymore, they started to fucking learn a different technique where they'd fucking, you know, paint on the corners. And if you don't know what that means, I'm sorry, I don't fucking know about soccer. So, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, they had to change their game. Jericho needs to change his game and, you know, maybe become more of a brawler and stop doing the high flying. It's like the fucking match he had with Juventud, and we're probably going to get that, you know, get, I sound like you now, you're making me stutter. I'm sure we're going to get to that later. But that was, you want to talk about a clusterfuck of a match. But out of the gate, you were not a fan of Les Champions. You didn't like a little bit of the bubbly. Like, you don't think anything he did was entertaining?
Honestly, nothing. I just think it was kind of like, do you ever get when you love a band and then the band goes into their next decade and they change? It was like
Guns N' Roses.
One of my favorite, a band that I like.
Okay, gotcha.
Like an example is Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
They were approaching middle age when they made an album called Saint Anger, and they decided, you know what we should do? Let's drop the guitar solos. You know, they've one of the greatest guitars ever. They're like, fuck that, get rid of it. Let's not wear all black. Let's start dressing modern. Let's try and sound like the current band instead of the thing that made them so great before. That's what I think is the problem, is that they had Jericho trying to do the modern stuff, and the modern stuff is shit. It's like, also, I love James Bond. If you see the Pierce Brosnan films, when they did the theme songs, instead of it being the dun 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 the classic, they were like, okay, let's do a hip hop version, let's do a dance music version, and you go, what the fuck are you doing? Just do the original theme. It works perfectly.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Were you a fan of Pierce Brosnan in that role? Because I wasn't.
Least favorite Bond.
Thank you very much. No.
Want to know interesting trivia about how small Ireland actually is?
Sure.
Pierce Brosnan grew up across the street from where my granny used to live down south.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So there you go.
Hold on. Before you move on, getting back to Metallica, because you kind of hit a little sore spot with me. I actually enjoyed the songs, well, not all of them, but I enjoyed most of Saint Anger. If it was mixed differently, would you have enjoyed it more?
If Hitler had red hair when I have signed up to the army, I don't know, but yes.
You didn't like Frantic? I mean, Frantic was a really good song.
Well, Frantic is good, and I like the song Saint Anger. I like the bit, when I want my anger to be...
Yeah.
That's about it. Oh,
but the drums were fucking horrible, obviously. That's like the first thing everybody notices.
I'd rather listen to Christopher Martin record a fucking live stream from Walmart. Getting back to the topic of the show, and you mentioned it a bit earlier, the first AEW pay-per-view, it was Jericho versus Hangman Page, I think, wasn't it?
Correct.
For the AEW title?
First title match, yeah.
This was AEW's chance to make themselves look different and be the alternative that a lot of fans wanted for a long, long time. So what does AEW give you? They give you a 50-year-old out-of-shape guy, famous from the WWE, as their first world champion. That, to me, was one of AEW's immediate mistakes. It's like right, instantly, we're already what you've seen before, and in the worst version that they've been ever. What was your take on that?
I can't agree more. Like I said, a few minutes ago, Hangman Page should have been that guy for Jericho to put him over and give him the rub and tell the world that this guy is legit. All the hype that he had coming out of Japan, like this guy is the real deal. He's going to lead our new brand, our different brand, the fun brand, the one brand, not a feed, but a brand, to the next level and let the world know that AEW is here and we're going to be an alternative to WWE. And like you said, same mistake TNA made, same mistake WCW made now with Tony Khan buying all these ex-WWE guys. Putting Jericho over, I mean, I kind of get it because he does bring the name, but as you said, it's just the same shit, different rapper.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned the Kiss reunion last week or last episode, but it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, that's great that Kiss is coming back with the original lineup, but that doesn't mean that they're traveling backwards in time. It just means everything's older. And now it's going to be compared, and Jericho being the top guy straight away, to then move into a feud with Dean Ambrose, which we've seen before in WWE. It's like, this is not good. And then Jericho, throughout that run, you mentioned that the little bit of bubbly, late champion, the jacuzzi video stuff. He became obsessed with trying to be funny.
Yeah.
And it's like, I thought it was, but here's the problem with that. I love Quentin Tarantino films because they're not comedies. They're like dramas or thrillers that have very funny lines in it.
Right.
But if you go see a Melissa McCarthy film, that sexy piece, they're awful because she's trying so hard to make you laugh.
Yes, thank you.
And when it's like, if you're in the car and you're going to pull the seatbelt, if you yank on it like that, if you force it, it's not going to work. But if you just gradually let it happen, it works smoothly. And that is why Chris Jericho is not fucking funny.
And now you brought up Melissa McCarthy, and you're always going to get me off on a side tangent. You ever see the movie with her with the Heat, with her and Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock was fucking hilarious in that movie because she played the straight role, but she fucking did things with great timing and that kind of dry wit, that dry, sarcastic sense of humor. Whereas Melissa McCarthy's doing all the fucking physical comedy and all the over-the-top bullshit. So I agree with you there. Jericho needed to... It's almost... I mean, people give him credit. Oh, he's always reinventing himself. That's what Jericho's always great about, is reinventing himself. And I will give him credit for that. He always kind of comes up with a different version of himself. But... the late champion stuff, and maybe it was on purpose. I don't know. Maybe he was just doing it as a fucking rib. It's like he was a parody of himself, like a parody of an overweight fucking rock star. And it's seriously, like, it's almost like he was ribbing himself.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But no, the stuff like the little bit of bubbly thing, it's like, and then you get all the dumb AEW fans go, oh, it's so funny. I ordered champagne. I did this. And it's like, how about you stop buying the merchandise, and how about you fucking create new fans? Well, actually, yeah, buy the merchandise, but that whole thing for him and he was champion for a long time.
He was, yeah.
To do all that, to then drop it to Ambrose.
Another WWE guy, yeah.
Yeah, I just think that's why I never get into AEW, because it's like, I've seen this and I don't like Ambrose, so I'm not watching this shit. But then there was a feud that came that is just ridiculous, and of course we missed the Stadium Stampede, which I think I remember somebody sending an email about that in the Keeping 100, which is the show I work for. Somebody said that that's the match that they think that fucked up AEW, because after that match, their ratings dropped well below 800,000 and stayed that way. Yeah. Because what could have been this great 5-on-5 epic violent brawl instead became like a 30-minute long Saturday Night Live sketch. Mm-hmm. R.I.P. Norm Macdonald.
Yes, absolutely. It's almost like the fucking Money in the Bank match that WWE did during the pandemic with at Titan Towers. It was just like one big fucking comedy thing, right? That's kind of like the same lines that the Stadium Stampede was on. So I don't know if there was people on the inside. There's moles in AEW and WWE feeding information back and forth. Hey, here's what we're doing. Okay, well, here's what we're doing. They kind of try to counter program each other. But the stuff with Matt Hardy was fucking horrible. And then that match was just, goddamn. Like, the only funny thing I thought was like the golf cart shit. It was like chasing Sammy Guevara or whatever. Like that, I kind of popped for that. But yeah, that was it. You're going to get to the MJF stuff here soon, which was even worse.
Well, before we got to MJF, and to show that Chris Jericho learned his lesson from all the negative reaction to the comedy stuff and the fallen ratings, he then went into a 4-month-long storyline with Orange Cassidy.
I forgot about that, yes.
Which, and I remember they spoke about this on Cable 100. I had to look it up to actually see it for myself. It started because Chris Jericho attacked Orange Cassidy with oranges.
That's right, yeah.
We've seen this guy headline WrestleMania with Triple H. We've seen him with that classic feud with Dean Malenko in WCW. We've seen those epic matches with The Rock. You ever hear that guy?
A couple times. Oh, even the stuff with Goldberg, even though Goldberg didn't want to do it. I mean, Jericho was getting over on Goldberg without him even showing up.
Right, so Jericho had these legendary classic feuds, and it's there. The only thing he could come up with was he attacks a guy called Orange with oranges. Can I tell you my honest opinion? I think that by this stage of his AEW contract, Jericho had made a shit ton of money, like confirmed in the bank. I think he then realized this Tony Khan guy will let me do whatever I want. Like Jericho's clearly going to retire within the next 3 years. Like he's physically will not be able to keep going no matter who makes him the deals. I think at that point he thought, I've got this guy under my thumb. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And Tony Khan's not going to give me any shit. So I think this was kind of a rib on AEW, because I'm sure you heard, if you listen to Jim Cornette, he said, or Brian Last said, that there was some sort of Chris Jericho email thing that went around that had him bashing Tony Khan, saying like this guy's a money mark, all this shit. And obviously I haven't seen that email, but I think that Orange Cassidy feud kind of backs up that theory. What was your take on Orange Cassidy?
I can see where Tony Khan would be like, yeah, I fucking love Orange Cassidy, because obviously Tony's a fucking, wrestling fan. He's an indie mark. He brings all these fucking indie wrestlers in, and not even the best of the indies either. But they, he had a chance to get this guy over. He likes Orange's gimmick, and I agree with the rib thing. I think Jericho's just doing it to see how far he can push it and how far he can get away with, which we'll get to in the next feud as well. It's kind of along the same lines, like, how can I get more ridiculous than I did before? So then they have this fucking mimosa fucking match, whatever goddamn it was, where he got dumped into a big fucking vat of mimosas and orange juice and champagne or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, the winner of the match had to dump the loser in the giant fake drink. And here's the other thing. So we've seen Jericho in these Hell in a Cells and wrestling The Rock, and Triple H, and one of the best Monday Night Raw matches ever. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Undertaker, Kane, Kurt Angle, Rob Van Dam. Chris Jericho literally sold being knocked out from a drink.
Yeah. Especially when we know how much he drinks on a normal basis anyway. Like,
yeah, he probably, if that was real, he would have wanted to do a fucking diving headbutt into it. Exactly. But this is the thing that I don't get. There was Jericho has these feuds and these storylines that doesn't then elevate the guy. Like Orange Cassidy. Can I give you my my review of Orange Cassidy? Is that he's like the Austin Powers of wrestling, and that you see Austin Powers 1 and you go, that is really funny. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so new, unique, and different. Austin Powers is brilliant. Then you see Austin Powers 2, and you go, Right. Okay. It's still funny, but he's basically doing exactly the same thing. So it's funny, but I've seen this. And then you see Austin Powers 3 and you go, right, it's not funny anymore. And it's actually anti-funny. And it's so unfunny to the point that I don't even like Austin Powers 1 anymore.
Yeah.
That's my theory of Orange Cassidy. I just don't get this. And the fact that Jericho would spend all that time in the storyline with him instead of someone like Adam Page or fucking Brian Cage or Nicolas Cage or Page from WWE or a piece of paper Page, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Bob Seger's song "Turn the Page," which was also covered by Metallica, turning it all around again. See what I did there? Slam poetry. Oh! I forgot what I'm saying. No, but with the Orange Cassidy stuff, I can understand doing a 3-month-long storyline to push somebody up the card. But after that feud, Cassidy did nothing. So it's like, then why did it happen?
I can't argue that. I mean, didn't they do the same thing with Jungle Boy? Didn't Jungle Boy have a big match with Jericho at one point for the title and he lost? But after that, he just went back to fucking playing with Marco Stunt.
But he gets the fuck on a J, so I hope Jungle Boy dies of AIDS.
That's fair.
Showing that, again, nothing was learned from the Orange Cassidy feud. We then came into a storyline that in this day and age was ridiculously long. Apparently it was 13 months long of a story. And we're talking about Chris Jericho versus MJF. I gotta be honest, before AEW, I'd never heard of MJF.
Same.
I don't know the indie scene. I don't know the smaller companies. I knew Impact and WWE. That's it. All I'd ever heard for ages and ages was this MJF guy. He's fucking the unbelievable promos. He's kayfabe's the gimmick 24/7. Like he's so good. He's so good, and all this stuff. Then he gets into this Chris Jericho feud, and they basically do a carbon copy of the Kevin Owens thing from WWE, where it's like they're good friends and all this stuff, and then he turns on him, and then to show his creative brilliance, the Booker of the Year, Tony Khan, the most successful football team owner in the world as well, and basically runs the English Premier League. He's so good. Next thing you know, he's going to open up a parenting class for Chris Benoit. Tony Khan had this great idea of, what about if MJF joins Inner Circle, which would be something like the 11th faction in AEW at the time, to then leave to form his own faction, which for no reason at all, again, just randomly had 4 or 5 guys join him. No build-up, no logical chemistry reason together. They just formed because. And they did this. Another reason was showing fucking Jericho's age was they did a hangover party.
Yeah.
Right? With fucking Conan in it, which was, by the way, I'm going to say, I think that's where he possibly caught COVID.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because it was, Las Vegas was not a fucking healthy place to be.
Right.
Conan's there doing a fucking hangover party video, which somehow is to get heels over his heels. Here's the thing. The Hangover came out in 2010. So they did a parody of it a decade later. This is Jericho's an old man.
Yeah,
like he's gonna come out and do. What if we come out dressed as the mamas and the papas? That'd be funny. Or we'll do an ABBA parody. Or what about if we do a build a pyramid match? For fuck's sake!
You're glossing over the fucking little dance routine that they did too.
Oh, I'm getting to that.
Okay, all right.
So to set up a match on. For one of their pay-per-views, let's go back to 1999. I remember Vince Russo was fucking on fire.
Yep.
And he was booking these storylines, even in 1998, of DX versus The Nation and The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin and Undertaker versus Kane, where you would actively like, I have to see this. They're beating the shit out of each other every week. All these great angles is building up to this match. Let's cut to AEW. They had Jericho and MJF literally have dinner together and get up and sing and dance together. This was to make you fucking hyped up to see a wrestling match. It was, I think that Conan called it the single worst booked angle in the history of pro wrestling.
And you want to talk about kayfabing, MJF always kayfabing and being in character. He fucking killed it with this whole thing. He absolutely killed his image by doing this.
Yeah, and so they do this for MJF to join the faction, to break up the faction, and then, of course, knowing AEW, they have this, what do you call it, like a double cage match? What's the name of the War Games match?
War Games, yeah.
So Jericho takes a bump off the top of the cage, which was a bit silly at his age, but of course lands onto crash pads. Now, here's the thing. I don't think anybody could rightfully bash him for landing on crash pads, because if he hit the ramp for real at that height, he could have broken his back or his ribs. We all know wrestling's fake. We all know films and TV are fake. We get that. But AEW is so badly produced that they literally cut to the camera of the other side that showed actual pillows.
Yeah, and the crash pad actually looked like the ramp. Like they had the ramp like painted on it, like a silhouette.
Yeah. And here's the other thing that's so dumb. Jericho in real life gets so butthurt over that the reaction to that stupid bump he pretended to have a shoulder injury for about a month afterwards, despite the fact that he was seen in public not wearing it, but he would always wear it to shows. He was arguing with Shotzi Blackheart online because she pointed out that it was fucking stupid. So they did that on free TV, which also drew a bad rating in front of no fans, which is double baffling. Why would you give away a match like that on free TV? To set up a comedy match, another stadium stampede match, which is what people fucking hated in the first place. Why do this?
They don't know how to book. Tony Khan just lets them kind of do whatever they want. They have so much talent there, Hughezy. They have Jake the Snake. They have Jim Ross. They have Arn Anderson, Dean Malenko, Billy Gunn, blah, 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 blah. We can go on and on about all the people and the knowledge that they have there. But there's still one guy in fucking charge, and that's Tony Khan. It's the same with fucking Vince and WWE. No one's going to tell Tony what to do, or no one's going to tell Tony, hey, bro, that's a fucking bad idea. So little fucking Mark boy gets to book whatever he wants, and he thought it was fucking great the first time, obviously, so he fucking does it again.
Yeah, the biggest mark in AEW isn't Mr. Henry, it's Tony Khan.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's changed it to Tony Kant. Book a show.
Ooh.
Oh, Tony Kant. The thing as well about him is that so they did they did a gimmick match to set up a gimmick match, which wasn't the blow off. Then they kept that feud going even further of Jericho and MJF at the most recent pay-per-view, which was about a week or two ago. And the big finish of this year plus build-up is that Chris Jericho goes over.
Yeah.
They could have had MJF win. This could have been him moving up the card to possibly become a main eventer or whatever. But no, WWE guy goes over the young guy. And I'll give you a little bit of an inside scoop. There is talks of there being backstage problems in AEW. Brian Cage has publicly complained about his booking. Yeah. Apparently the FTR don't like it there. MJF, his contract's coming up soon. I think WWE would likely try to sign him. I don't see why he would want to stay in AEW unless he gets a lot of money.
But what would WWE turn him into? Would they give him a different name and make him just a fucking comedy act? I mean, you can't trust their booking either of him. But I
say that, but imagine if you put someone like Paul Heyman with MJF.
Right. Well, I mean,
they could.
I know you're going with that, but MJF is such a great talker. He doesn't need to have a mouthpiece like Heyman. Heyman could produce him. I wouldn't necessarily put him on screen with Paul, given the fact that MJF, can be a great talker and do great promos. But if they were to let him go, he could definitely get over as a heel in this day and age, because there's a lot of people that don't like him. I don't even like his fucking face. He just looks like a fucking douchebag, right? So, Jericho should have put him over, but it was 50-50 booking. Like, they had Jericho go through the 5 labors of Jericho, whatever the fuck that was, and MJF had him do like 5 different fucking things, like wrestle Nick Gage and wrestle fucking. He did some fucking like panes of glass match. I didn't fucking watch all of it, but in the end, Jericho lost. And then they had a rematch, and Jericho said, if you beat me, I'll no longer wrestle in AEW again. So we're thinking, all right, well, this is his way out. This is his way to just fucking go on commentary, because he was supposed to be the commentator on Rampage. And, he'll just fucking finish out his contract like that. But obviously, he did not. And where the fuck does he go from here?
Yeah, and how do you put a guy in an angle called labors when he actually looks pregnant?
Well done.
Thank you. But it's true. It's like, I just thought that whole thing, I remember WWE got bashed because they had, what was it, Lashley versus Drew McIntyre that went on for 3 months, and people were like, it's done. So AEW does a year plus storyline. Especially in this, it's so bad. And the other thing we've got to say is that from what I understand, Jericho's contract is up in February of 2022. If he's getting, as rumored, $8 million a year, that would mean Tony Khan would have to give him a raise.
Yeah, I'd say 9-10 million, maybe.
Yeah, I think there's conceivably a point that Jericho could demand $10 million a year. But the thing is, at the minute, I don't think Jericho's worth $1 million a year.
I can't argue with that. And look, we're bashing Chris, but we both like him, like personally. Like he's a good dude. Like we've had interactions with him. Like he's a nice guy. He's a smart guy. We just think he's obviously past his fucking ring prime. 10 million is Brock Lesnar money. Like, do you really? I mean, come on, dude. Really?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, because obviously, if Tony Khan's like, I'll give you 10 million a year there, man, to come sign here for another 2 or 3 years there, man, there's no way you would turn it down.
There's no way, and he shouldn't. Honestly, I mean, I know we're bashing on him now, but like, I would fucking take it if I were him.
Definitely, but the problem is, I worry for his health. Like Triple H, who's notoriously clean living, apart from shitloads of steroids.
Come on, B12, man, it's B12.
Yeah, he had a heart attack last week.
Yep.
Jericho looks blown up while doing promos.
Yeah.
And he admits that he's a fucking heavy vodka drinker.
Yep.
I do worry for his health if he doesn't stop.
I worry for your health, and you're a young guy, but I've seen what you eat and what you drink. So, I mean, I fear for you, let alone him. I mean, once quarantine was over, you put on the freshman 50. So
yeah, fuck, I've been enjoying the pub, I must say. Although I have to say that the beer shits make me feel like Kane's Pyro.
That's exactly right. But no, yeah, if Jericho went to a lighter schedule and maybe just became an attraction like a Brock Lesnar, and we see Jericho in spurts every 2 or 3 months, then I can buy that. But if he's going to be on TV every fucking week, I do not want to see him for I feel bad. I really do. I feel bad for him. I don't want to see him on TV for 3 more years. I just don't. There's no reason for him to be. He should be at the point where he's putting people over. I really think the fucking loss to Fandango at WrestleMania really fucked with his head and really pissed him off that he wanted to leave WWE so badly that he would do whatever it took to try to rebuild his name. And I think that's been his whole thing here in AEW, was to, stick it to WWE and avenge that match, to Fandango, when it should have been him and Kevin Owens.
Yeah, that was a year later or something, wasn't it?
I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter. Semantics.
Yeah. But the thing as well with Jericho is that, this is one of the main topic I've been very interested to speak to about, is that his personal life. He's quite a controversial guy. Personally, I think he should be able to do what he wants. In pro wrestling, he's Chris Jericho, the wrestler. He's not Chris Irvine.
Right.
So I don't like the fact that his private life is so well known, but we should also talk about that. During the pandemic, this was before there was like a vaccine and stuff, Jericho and Fozzy played at was it the Sturgis Biker Rally thing?
Yeah.
And apparently it was a massive spreader. There was like 10,000 COVID infections.
Right.
He's also a known Trump supporter and stuff like that. But the only criticism I would have here is with the fans, in that unless Chris Jericho's like raping women or beating his wife or he's physically harming people, then he can do what he wants. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. What he does in his personal time, or whoever he supports. I mean, Canada disowned him for being a Trump supporter, so there's that. He's no longer a dual citizen. Playing at the Sturgis rally. I mean, dude, he got booked to play. Like, if people had a problem with it, then don't go. For people that didn't go and were saying, "Oh, he's a fucking super spreader," what the fuck does it have to do with you? People paid him to fucking play a show. So yeah, I mean, I think wrestling fans put too much attention on the wrestlers and kind of put them up on a pedestal, and it's not everybody, but it's the fucking majority. I mean, that's really the reason why we're doing this fucking show, is because of guys like this.
It's still real to me, damn it.
So, Jericho the wrestler should be separated from Chris Irvine the human, but
yeah,
it doesn't happen in this day and age.
But the other thing is about the Trump thing is that the fans need to see it from his perspective, and that if you're really rich and if you're at a time when you're making $8 million a year from just alone from wrestling, fuck knows what he's making from like bonus pay and his podcast and the concerts and stuff. Why wouldn't he be a Trump guy? Why would he think, no, I should vote for the guy that's going to take more of that money away from me?
Right. I mean, statistically, the Democrats tax the rich more than anybody else. And a lot of people came out and said that. I think even Jay-Z did at one point, and he fucking recanted it at some point. But
fuck Jay-Z.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't blame Jericho as well. Is he conservative? I don't fucking know. But I mean, he's going to support a guy that's going to help him keep his hard-earned money. And look, I'm not saying Jericho doesn't work hard. He has worked hard for what he's gotten. But again, he still looks like a fat piece of shit.
But just as we're wrapping up here,
I'm one to talk, right? Like, yeah, I'm a fat guy. I can fucking make jokes about other fat guys. That's the fucking rules.
See, that's why I like to also drop the N-word, because I'm a nerd. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Don't know what word you were thinking of. But I have to tell a quick Chris Jericho story that this happened a couple of years ago in Belfast, where I was walking up the street to go get my bus home after work, and there was this big, sort of thick guy in a leather jacket outside this chicken restaurant we have here called Nando's.
Yeah, that was me.
And
it was good to see you.
Yeah, and I was sort of looking at this guy going, I know his face, and he sort of caught me staring at him, and he looked at me and goes, "Hey, what's up?" like that. And I'm like, it's fucking Chris Jericho.
No shit.
Yeah, he was in the street, and I got a photograph for them. It's like, nice to meet you. We had like a 90-second, 80-second conversation about Aerosmith.
Nice.
And I thought, it was like, holy fuck, that was Chris Jericho. And he's got that charisma about him where, again, I don't want to watch him wrestle, but if he came back to WWE and even just to reenact that classic entrance thing with a countdown,
Oh yeah,
I would mark out for that.
agreed.
But he is a legend, and I've also got to say, this Christmas I got 8 tickets to go see Fozzy. Me and all the boys are going to see Fozzy who's playing in Belfast. We're going to get Christmas jumpers on. We're going to binge drink all day.
Awesome.
We're going to get thrown out. I'm going to punch the bouncers if they come near me because I'm a big boy. I can do what I want. Fozzy's not bad. Chris Jericho, I'll always be a mark for. I wish he was in AEW. What do you think?
I can't disagree with that. I still like Chris Jericho. I still like watching his promos because he's still a charismatic guy. I do actually like Fozzy. I think the fans have ruined Judas, but that's one of the greatest fucking songs in the history. Jericho definitely deserves his place among one of the best of all time. I do think he will go back to WWE at some point, even if it's just back for maybe a couple matches or maybe a one-off and then go into the Hall of Fame. He will be in the WWE Hall of Fame if they ask him. Like, there's no way he would turn that down. And I don't think, I mean, the fact that Vince let him go on, like I said, Jericho's Stone Cold fucking drinking sessions, whatever the fucking shit was on the network, that was a big deal. No, like, really, it's like, I don't know what the fucking name of it is. I'm old. But we've never seen anything like that before. The fucking forbidden door, like, he just fucking went in Austin's back door and hit him up. Sorry. The fuck was I talking about?
Then Jericho going back to WWE.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I have a feeling that he'll never wrestle again for WWE, but I think he'll go back for, as you say, the Hall of Fame. He'll get like that one last ego boost, and then I could see him maybe bringing his podcast to the network or whatever the fuck. But I've got to say, a lot of his company man stuff, like we said, AEW is going to overtake WWE in the ratings within 6 months. It's like, you think that AEW is going to be able to beat them during WrestleMania season when they've got all these like Lesnar, Lashley, Rock versus fucking Roman Reigns. Like, it's simply not happening. The only way AEW will beat them is if WWE ratings go down. AEW ratings aren't going up.
You could have Impact, Ring of Honor, AEW, New Japan. You could have everybody else just team up and have this big super fucking pay-per-view like the AWA tried to do back in the day, and nobody would give a fuck. You're never ever, I don't care who you sign. Even if they sign the fucking Rock, I swear to God, I don't think that would make a difference. AEW is what it is. It's never going to change. It's always going to feel like it's, WWE light, just like TNA did. TNA had all the big stars. They had Hogan, they had Bischoff, they had the New Age Outlaws, they had fucking AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, Hall and Nash, showed up at some point, Sting was there, and fucking Kurt Angle. And they still couldn't take over WWE. It's not going to happen with AEW. Now, as far as Jericho goes, if he did go back to WWE, I do think it should be just for Hall of Fame, but just for me as a fan, if he had one last WrestleMania match and they brought Fandango back in and he gets his fucking win back, that's it. That's it for me. That's all I ever needed.
Very possibly, but, as long as he doesn't have a heart attack in the ring, I'll be okay with it, because, as again, we are Jericho marks, we are Jericho-holics. I'm also an alcoholic, so is Chris Jericho. Yeah. But I thought that this was a great topic for the show. We have 2 others in the works, but of course, if anyone has any ideas for stuff, they will be ignored. We will do what we want to do.
We don't listen to anybody.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck everybody.
So before we go, Rob, we get the plugs out of the way. And not the hair plugs in Chris Jericho's head.
You can find me on RTW Main Event. That's my comedy podcast with the Ocho, one of Hughezy's favorites, and likewise, Ocho's a big fan of Hughezy. That's our comedy podcast we do every Thursday. That drops on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple, anywhere podcasts are found. RTW Rewind I do sporadically. That's my retro podcast. I'm kind of busy with other projects. I got a bowling podcast, dude. Are you big into bowling? Is bowling a big deal over in Ireland?
I love the finger holes.
That's fair. Johnny Petraglia Jr., son of PBA Hall of Famer Johnny Petraglia Sr. Imagine that. And Ocho and I do a bowling podcast that drops every Friday. We also have Uncanceled with Drake Wirtz, which I know you're a big fan of. You're looking to get him on your show. He was fired for what he says being white, to be quite honest. He was fired for his beliefs and being white and being against the woke cancel culture that WWE is right now. We have a podcast that drops every Friday for free with ads, or you can get the video version early and ad-free on patreon.com/uncanceledpodcast. We also have bonus content for the upper tiers, stories from NXT, which Drake had to run as a referee for 7 years, and he will tell stories that nobody else have the balls to say. That's part of our Patreon content. We do watch-alongs of the matches that his death matches. We just did a watch-along of Triple H and Stephanie against Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle. He was the referee for that match. Triple H asked him to ref that match. So he gave us insights of what went into putting that match together and what was going on during the match, what was in his earpiece and all that. So really, really good inside stories that you're not going to hear from anybody else. Patreon.com/uncanceledpodcast. And that's about it. I appreciate you having me on for another edition of DSOR.
And my plugs are It's Hughezy Hello podcast, the biggest podcast in the world with It's Hughezy Hello in the title. I can confirm that. The video version of the video highlights from all interviews will be on Hughezy Entertainment on YouTube. But at 10.7 thousand subscribers, thank you very much. View count isn't mind-blowing, but whatever. It's anything that passes 1,000 views is okay with me. Also, if you're a pro wrestling fan, go to Keeping It 100 Official. That's what I've been told by many people is the best YouTube channel for wrestling stuff in the world. It's full of controversial clickbait, but it's hosted by actual experts, not two marks like us. It's Conan Disco Inferno arguing, swearing, telling stories about behind the scenes WCW controversies and fights. It's great. Go there, click, leave comments, talk trash. Try not to swear because YouTube deletes them. But just get there and interact and make us money.
And again, Get My Go, right? Do you want to plug that?
Yeah, sorry. Get My Go is coming back soonish. Of course, subscribe to Get My Go on YouTube. And again, spam the comment section just because that's how view counts grow.
Which we've all done with that show. Are you going to miss picking on Wingling? Or I mean, I know you were kind of over that for a while, but taking a few months off, have you kind of missed it a little bit?
Well, to be honest, with Wangman, no. I would happily never do one about Wangland again unless something huge happens.
Huge and monumental.
Huge and monumental there, man, happens. Like I think he's a tapped keg, as they say in the bar. But I think that this new guy wrestling he's just a piece of shit. And it's not just that he's a mark, but he actually seems like a horrible person.
Yes, he does.
So I accused him of being a pedophile and stuff like that, and sucking kids' dicks and things. You know, it's a nice crispy one. I really don't see it being a regular recording thing again because it was only available before because there was a lockdown. There isn't one now.
Now you actually have something important to do, which is this show and everything else that you do. We'll be back. I don't know when, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month. But we will have another episode coming up here soon.
Sorry, one last plug I forgot to give. Big thank you to the brilliant J Rants.
Yes.
For allowing us to use his song. Thank you very much, and I forgot to do that at the start.
Yeah, that's because you're a cunt.
Fuck these bitch ass marks. They some bitch for real. And fuck dating too. Kill a little ass bitch for real. Sit and dance the who. Man, please don't try me.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.